brother, Banaya was talking about last night. Let it not be, just the physical aspect of things. Hopefully, brothers, sisters, the young ones, were able to connect and, really be at one with the Most High. Because that's what this day is about. It's not just, like a lot of our feast days. I mean, none of them are just to go through the process. It's for us to really connect and be in one accord with the Most High. But, us as the process, as far as repentance goes, sometimes, it takes a couple years for us to really understand what the mission is. But the name of the lesson tonight is endure, right? Which is what all of us just did this Day of Atonement. I was talking to a couple of sisters and brothers last night, like, whenever you go through missions like this, man, trust the process, trust the Most High, because that's what it's about. That's why he puts us through all these things. Day of Atonement, we're about to go dwell in the wilderness for 7 days is what we should be doing, right? We did it for 40 years. Out of those 40 years, only 3 individuals were able to make it to the land of Canaan. Why? Because our people lack faith. They weren't able to endure, right? But that's what, Yahweh Shai was a prime example of endurance. So let's not forget that. There's a couple of, like when we do these lessons, man, so many scriptures we want to bring out, but we only have so much time. But one thing that you guys need not to forget is who's Jacob? And what does that mean? Prince of Power, right? The Prince of Power. Think about that. Prince of Power. How did he get that name? You got a mic out there? Who knows how he got that name? You know how he got the name? Give it to this child right here, to the young king right here.
Well, today we watched them. And
so we're talking about Jacob. Do you know how he got his name? Israel?
Because of how he,
you got it.
First of all, he was sold into slavery. He rested with the angel.
Right? He wrestled against angel, right? Human and spirit, right? Celestial and terrestrial beings, and he came out, right? Victorious. That's our forefather right there. I feel like a lot of us forget that. Real talk, like we forget about that. We go through little things, little dings, and it's like what you would call a little fender bender, right? And we out here like it was the most tragic situation in our life. We ready to throw in the towel and just give up. We are sons of Jacob, man. Think about that. Sons of Yasharallah. Really meditate on that. So if we understand that, endurance should come like second nature. But then again, we also flesh and blood. Brother went into it last night, the flesh is weak. And that's why we got to go through things like the Day of Atonement that we did today, right? One day, about 24 hours of, abstaining from any food and any drink, just so we could defeat that flesh and let that spirit come out. Imagine Yahweh Shai did it for 40 days, 40 nights. Moses, 40 days, 40 nights. Esdras was doing intervals of 7 days. And you could go through the book and see all these other people. Our sister Judith, right? Only on the feast days. Any other day she was fasting. You read about Mordecai, about Esther. It was a decree sent out, right? That the whole town, everybody in Israel, everybody in that region had to fast. So when you look at it, any time that we fasted was to be, that's when we were crying to the Most High. And look at the situation we're in right now. It's like low-key the end of Matthew 24 where we at right now. It's bad. You look at Fauci today talking about, you know, if you guys don't want to take the shot, we're going to have to take some forceful measurements. It's going to be ready, you know, in a minute, like my brother says, we're going to have to be shedding blood in a bit. So we got to make sure that we gird ourselves up for that moment. Because we could talk about it day and night, but when that time comes and it presents itself, we got to make sure that we're spiritually connected and ready to go. And also have the understanding of when to go and what to do. You know, because us, growing up in the hood, growing up in situations, affiliations with gangs and cartels and all that, like, easy is for us to just take revenge and call it a day, right? But there's measurements in the law, how to go about, because a lot of the people we're going to have to be taking out is going to be our own people, 2/3. Lamentations is a cool chapter when it talks about the mothers are going to go against the children against the mothers. Think about that. And I'm pretty sure we all observe that because we have families, big families at that. And we don't see every family member in here, do we? Imagine that. But let's get the lesson going. Endure. Anybody have a definition? If anybody does, please bring it out. If not, I'll touch on it right quick. The definition, what does it mean? Endure. You have it, Ike? Go ahead, Ike.
Endure. Suffer something painful or difficult patiently.
You see that? Suffer something painful or difficult. What was the last word?
Patiently.
Patiently. Long suffering. Touching on, like, for example, the spouse situation, right? Marriages. You guys are counselors right here, right? Next to me. What do you counsel the most? What are the biggest issues in Israel?
Marriages.
Marriage, right? Marriage is supposed to be the union for us to build this nation. But we have a lot of difficulties in it, right? But remember, it says right here, endure. Suffer something painful or difficult patiently. Yahweh Shai was long suffering. We are his wife, right? So if he's dealt with our nonsense for how many years now? How many centuries? You know, that's the thing. That's where we got to be as men, as women, as children, to really understand. Like, look, it's not going to be an easy walk, but it could be if we make it. Because we're the ones that complicate it. Imagine, I'll be like, man, I'd just be sitting here over years, right? Like, how easy would it be if everybody was just on point? I mean, we low-key be out of here. 1/3, right? That's all we need? 1/3. But again, you know, long suffering, the Most High. You know, I talk to brothers sometimes, it's like, man, you know, we get fed up. Of course, we in captivity, but guess what? We're serving a sentence. You don't be in jail like, hey, you know what? I just want to dip right now. I want to be out. Nah, you're serving 25, brother. You're at 15 right now. You got 10 to go. Deuteronomy 28 talked about it. Look, if y'all want to be blessed, overwhelmed with blessings, all you got to do is pay attention and be obedient. You want to do the opposite, man, you're going to be serving your enemies for a long time. Because he gave us 70 years in Babylon, right? He didn't give an account, although he did talk about it in Genesis to our forefather. He said at least 400 years we were going to be, in captivity. So 400 years, that's a long time. You know what I'm talking about? You look puzzled, right? Yeah. It was a prophecy before Israel even existed. But so I have another one that says, to remain in existence, to last, to remain firm under suffering or misfortune without yielding, though it's difficult, right? And through difficulty. Then it says to undergo, especially without giving in. Think about it. We did it this one time, right? This one day of atonement. Our forefathers, you look about, read in regards to 70 AD, our people had no choice. But again, it came due to our transgression, our disobedience. You talk to people outside of this, out of the truth, they don't understand the Day of Atonement. First thing they tell you, oh, that's done away with. We don't need that. Christ was the ultimate atonement. I mean, fasting was, Christ wasn't in existence, and we were doing that. How are we going to show our humility to the Most High? We can't just ask him. I mean, anybody, any parent that has any knowledge in any sense, is not just going to give their kids anything and everything they want whenever they want it. Right? But, so that's, a quick definition of what endurance means. So let's go to Matthew 24 and 13. We'll start off with that. So remember, suffer something painful or difficult patiently. And then we'll get Romans 8 and 35.
I'll give Matthew.
Go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
So imagine that. Because sometimes we feel, we go, and brother said yesterday, what did you say, Yak, about the Most High has never done us wrong? People have. And we start blaming the Most High for what people do. Think about that. We don't want to congregate. We don't want to deal with certain people. And then we start going away from the laws like the Most High did something to you. That's people. Didn't Judas rat out Yahweh Shai? He sold them out, right? Come on.
Still call him a friend.
And at that, and he still, asked for forgiveness from the Most High. He's like, these individuals don't know what they do. So once when you're at one with the Most High, you understand these things. You don't just go off and be, ready to persecute your own people. Give up on your own people. And that's one thing that we got to remember, because a lot of times simple things be happening and we don't want to deal with that individual no more. We don't want to deal with that sister. We don't want to come around anymore and stuff like that, right? The Most High is not letting us down. It's our people. But remember, we got to look out for each other. Cain and Abel, aren't you your brother's keeper, right? He looked at it like, no. He had already killed Abel. So we got to really focus on that, because instead of us being in that situation, we got to look out for each other. Look out for each other and make sure that whatever we do, we let the Most High arbitrate the situation and make sure that the law is how we move, basically. Brother said that judgment and the law, that's what the Most High looks at. He's well pleased with that. Those are sacrifices to him. Sirach talks about it. Psalms 51, he gave you that passage last night. David went all in after he committed the transgressions he committed. But he really repented. So it's really about that. It says, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. So I brought all that to say, don't lose faith. For example, we talk about it, as a government, and sometimes people get burnt out. They've gone all in. They put it, I remember I'm bringing him out as an example. My brother going through it, alms, Tila, being here on time, everything. You couldn't say anything negative about the Jake. You got brothers like your guy and stuff like that. We got many brothers. I'm just bringing out a couple of examples from brothers that have been around for years. And it's like, sometimes you might be burnt out because you don't feel appreciated, perhaps. But remember, you're doing this for the Most High. At the end of the day, you're setting your treasures up in the heavens. So don't lose sight of that. Because sometimes we do lose. It's already prophesied. There's a lot of work, but only a few workers, right? So then if we know all this, let's not go against the grain. Just like, you know what, Abba? I appreciate that you gave me the spirit. Let me keep pushing forth. And let me motivate my people to do the same thing. Because once you start sparking that, it's like the menorah, right? You light all the candles up. Man, the Most High, he's quick to recompense our people. The times that you might think that you're going through the worst, you'll be blessed out of nowhere. And you think it's out of nowhere. But it's not out of nowhere. It's out of the works that you put in all them years. But he's going to bless you when he thinks it's proper time. Because when we want it, he's like, nah, you don't need it right now. Because if I give it to you right now, you're going to start slacking off. In the scriptures, it says, Israel waxed fat and kicked. So he had to take that from us. But let's go to the next scripture. Salakia, I get to talking too much. I'm going to let the scriptures talk. Romans 8 and 35.
Romans chapter 8, verse 35. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ?
So it's a question, right? It's Paul right here after going through a lot of situations. He's like, who's going to separate us from the love of, that we have with Yahweh Shai? Go ahead.
Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword?
Right? So he's asking, any of those things? Because a lot of those things be happening to our people, right? But a lot of these things that he named right now, we haven't gone through it really. We haven't really been persecuted. We tasted a little bit of famine 2020. Not really, not much, right? Nakedness or peril. Some of us, yeah, we've gone through that. We're probably in the situation. But he's asking the question. Let's go from there, hold that, and get Acts 20 and 24. We're going to come back right to Romans, but let's go to Acts. And remember, like little man said, our forefather, he wrestled against an angel and came out victorious. Right? Go ahead. 20 and 24, yeah.
The book of Acts, chapter 20, verse 24. But none of these things move me, neither count I my life dear unto myself.
So you see that? This is Paul coming in. And this, when you read about it, is when he was in Miletus, right? And he had to go. He had already said, that he was going to go to Jerusalem. Mind you, the Pharisees and Sadducees were there. They wanted to kill Paul. Paul was right here like, look, regardless, I got to do what I got to do, no matter what. Because remember, another thing, the spirit of fear, it wasn't given to us. A lot of people get confused, but fear the Most High. Yeah, it's a big difference, though. That's respect. To fear the Most High. That's it. Anything else? But you got to have that balance to be able to understand what it is, how it is that you got to operate, right? So he says, but none of these things move me. And he said, neither count I my life dear unto myself. So he basically saying, if I got to lose my life, I'm ready to lose it. Yahweh Shai said it. He says, if you're not going to be able to hate your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your spouse, yourself, you're not worthy to be my disciple. So just showing you the understanding that Paul had and a lot of the brothers that you read about. They were fully connected. They're like, you know what, I'm ready to go all out. Most High willing, he got my back, and I, that doesn't happen, because that's another thing. We got to, think about, like, even when we out teaching on the corners, situations happen. Imagine we got to take somebody out. Send up a prayer prior to that. Because imagine we have families. I get locked up, a brother gets locked up. You got babies, you got a wife you got to look after. If it has to go down, it has to go down. But if it needs to go down, let's not move on our emotions either, and move on what we feel instead of what the law and what the Most High wants. So again, it's a balance. But he's ready, like, look, I'm doing everything I got to do. If I got to lose my life, then let it be so, right? Go ahead.
So that I might finish my course with joy.
Look at that. He says, so that I might finish my course with what?
With joy.
So we read the definition, painfully or difficult, patiently. The brother right here said, with joy. Some say, Day of Atonement, damn. Tabernacles. Man, another feast, another new moon. Damn, I'm on the list again. Come on, Israel. Man, what we going through, we're supposed to be happy, man. Like, imagine, when are you able to do this out in the world? All you got in the world is a bunch of snakes. People that act like they're your friends, but quick to backstab you. Right here, if that happens, we correct it. Not to say it's not going to happen. Again, Judas did it. He was rolling with Yahweh Shai and the other 11, right? Solid. So don't be shook either when that does happen in this walk. It's bound to happen. There's going to be wolves among us. But be ready to be able to endure and keep going. It said, suffer patiently. So he says, so I could finish my course with joy. Go ahead.
And the ministry which I have received of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai.
Exactly. Go ahead.
To testify the gospel of the grace of Yahweh.
Exactly. That's our duty. That's the reason why we're here. If there's another reason why you're here, then you got to examine yourself. Because that's why we're supposed to be here. So we're able to make it to the end. And that's why it's difficult sometimes, because we don't have that focus. My parents got me in there. My wife got me in there. Well, my husband, he's an Israelite, so I guess I got no choice. Think about it. All of us have choices. Don't be here just because you feel like it's something that you're pressured to do. Make sure it comes out of you, man, because at the end of the day, the Most High is going to pull everybody's card. And it's going to, There's a precept in the gospel where it talks about, you know, they're going to be like, Lord, Lord. He's like, who are you? I don't know you. But I was there 22 years. Yeah, remember, but you weren't there willfully at all. You had issues. So we got to understand that. But so now he said, but none of these things move me. So let's go back to Romans. So he says, Romans 8:36.
As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long.
Imagine that. Doesn't it feel like that often? You look at people around you like, man, it could just be that easy, right? I could probably be better off maybe if I break a Sabbath or two. Maybe if I do this. Oh, man, I got to take off. How many days this 7th month? Ooh, I was going to set me back and probably be late on rent, probably be late on a couple bills. Ah, man. Hey, it's all good, though. It's just for a moment. That test is but for a moment, but we got to believe that, though, because he said it right here. As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all day long. Go ahead, Art.
We are counted as sheep for the slaughter.
They look at us like, are you guys silly, man? It ain't got to be that difficult. And you know what's crazy? Then they say, you guys do what's convenient for you. I heard that plenty of times breaking family members down. Oh, you don't celebrate Christmas because you do what's convenient for you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm going to do what's convenient for me, for my soul, but I mean, it's not that easy, is it, Israel? A lot of us had jobs that were paying real good. We had to let go. Why? Because it was going to profane the Sabbath. But guess what? It is what it is. Because we know the recompense at the end. Right? But continue on.
Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors.
I love this. Look, really listen. That's what we went into right now in Genesis, right? We didn't go to the scripture, but Jacob, Yasharallah, Prince of Power, right? So it says, nay, in all these things we are more than what?
Conquerors.
Conquerors. Who came and took over our 10 tribe people out here in the Americas? The conquistadores, right? The conquerors. Same thing in Ghana, same thing out there in Timbuktu, right? In Africa and all throughout the four corners. They conquered us. The Most High said, look, you are more than conquerors. That's why a lot of things don't connect sometimes. In Daniel, it says that, are we going to ask for the kingdom? What does it say in Daniel?
We shall take the kingdom.
We're going to take the kingdom. So we got to gird ourselves up, be ready. All these feast days are not just so you can go throughout the year and have something to do. It's to be able to gird us up for that great day. Be able to gird us up to be able to deal with our family, with our wives, with our husbands, with our kids. Right? But sincerely, so it says, nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors. Go ahead.
Through him that love us.
Through Yahweh Shai. Go ahead.
For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities.
Think about that, though. Nor angels. Maybe if you're in the world, you're looking at like angels. Why not angels if angels are of the Most High? But going back to the example, right? We didn't go into it. It's in Genesis. We might touch on it. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? When Jacob battled against the angel and he came out victorious. Okay, cool. So then that's what the scripture's talking about right there. Nor angels. None of that. Because remember, yeah, and he was going, all his family had crossed already. I believe it was Peniel, the place of the land, of the territory. That's what he named it. And once they had crossed, he was set with that difficulty, with that test, right? But he overcame it. And that's how he got his name, Yasharallah. He conquered both, right? Carnal and celestial deities. But that's just to show you. Yahweh Shai did the same thing. Yahweh Shai elevated flesh and blood. I don't think people understand that. Thought it was a spirit or whatnot. Enoch, Loki did that. A couple of our brethren in the scriptures did that. There's many of them. You know, you look at, well, there's plenty of them, but continue on.
Nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come.
Exactly, right? Ephesians 2:12 talks about, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. We wrestle against a little bit of flesh and blood going through atonement. But a lot of times we eat just because food is there, just because we're programmed, right? I was at home today meditating, you know, reading scriptures, and I'm out here trying to grab something. Like, nope. I look at, I'm like, man, what's wrong with you, huh? You don't even need it. It's just like a comfort, you know? But then again, it's like that's the process. The Most High is trying to disconnect us from all that. Day of Atonement, he does that because guess what? In a minute, we might be like in the days of the Maccabees, running for our lives, like 70 AD. Now we might. I say might because we don't know if it's going to be this generation, but the way it's looking, man, it seems like it's right around the corner. So we got to be girded for these things, right? We got to show our babies, like, you know what, kid? You only got water for, we got, who knows how long we have, but we only have a gallon. So we're going to have to, you know, ration it out. If the kid ain't used to it, it's going to be difficult. Imagine the kids in the world, the people in the world. A sister could say, now, you know what, I have these certain symptoms, but I conquered it. And I was good. The Most High had my back. Then the next day, you might do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Brothers did 7. Sister that, you know, passed, she did 40 days. Imagine that. You know, so we're more than conquerors, Israel. But go ahead, I'll finish that up.
Nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of the Most High, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Exactly. Remember, he shed his blood for us. He shows you how much of a flesh and blood creature he was, because before he was presented as a sacrifice, remember he said, Father, if you're able to remove this from me, please do so. But let thy will be done. At the end, let thy will be done. So, but imagine, he was going through it. And he even asked his brethren, like, look out for me while I go and pray. Brother's knocked out. He was like, man, you couldn't look out for me just for a minute? He's like, I'm ready to give my life up for you. I'm about to shed my blood for you. I ask you to look out for me and keep watch. So these are the things, you know, as we go to tabernacles, when we out there, don't feel like somebody else is responsible for you. Let's be responsible for each other. You know, we got brothers from the military out here that know about watches and stuff like that. We got brothers out on security. Their eyes are glued on the monitors, right? Because we're supposed to be that watchman for Israel. And also, you know, make sure we always have each other's backs, because sometimes, you know what, the elders got it, the leaders got it, the bishop got it, that sister in charge, she got it. And that's how things don't function properly. We a body. As a body, we all got to contribute, right? So he says, none of these things are going to make me give up. I'm going to continue until the end, right? So let's go from there to Sirach 2:1. And I'm going to probably stress this throughout the night, because a lot of times, again and again, I'm going to repeat it, because we come in thinking that, okay, we in the truth now. Everything should be smooth, right? Everything should be well. Everything should be beautiful. Is that the case? Not at all. I mean, we come from a situation where we all suffer from PTSD. We all suffer from madness. Deuteronomy 28:28. You see it as soon as you leave out this door. You look to the right, to the left. Our people that COVID is going on, right? They on drugs. They still up. I've seen them for years. No mask, nothing. Still here, but in a mad state. And you know what's crazy? Every time they see us, oh, brother, how you doing? You know, I'm going to try to come by. I'm going to try to come by. God bless you. God bless you. They know. They know what we're doing. The neighbors know what we're doing. But it's not in them to come through and fully commit themselves. John 3:19 talks about it. It's the condemnation that keeps our people away. Everybody quotes John 3:16. Three verses right below that. It talks about our people love darkness. And that's why they quote 3:16 so much. But it says the condemnation is what keeps them from these laws. All praises to the Most High. We here, you know. And we can't take that for granted, Israel. We got to really build. Look at our young ones, because the young ones is young right now. They really don't have no choice per se, right? They're going to grow older. As you fast, as you send them up, even fast other than the Day of Atonement, send them up for them. Because remember, the scripture already said, one of a family, right? And 2 of the city, or vice versa. So that's scary right there. We have a lot of kids, but we could reverse that cycle. We could switch that curse. So all of us could make it. We got to make it, you know, where, again, don't be in here forcibly. Make sure you're here. You love being here. And if there's certain situations that you're not happy with, make the change. We can't complain all the time, but not, provide any changes or any solutions. Remember, we're building a nation, Yasharallah, but look at what Yahweh says right here. Sirach 2:1.
Sirach chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
You see that? So again, everybody got a different testimony of how they got into the truth. But forget about who told you, what they said, right? Again, all praises to the Most High that you're here. Now that you're here, focus on these scriptures. Let the scriptures guide you. Don't get caught up. Of course, we out here teaching. I'm not saying ignore the teachers, but I'm saying prove all things. That's what the scriptures say. But don't get caught up, she did me dirty, the brother did me dirty, he gone now, so you know what, I might as well just shake because there's probably some error. Nah. Most High, man, imagine Saul. There's so many instances that you read about where the Most High uses certain individuals. The brother that got me here, he's not here no more. And I still see him. I still, I don't talk to him, but I've talked to him, and he in a messed up situation. Real bad. Where, he asked me about, brother seen him a little while ago too. I saw him and then my brother seen him again. That's how the Most High just shows you, like, look, he's still calling you. He's like, look, there's still time. But something in your heart, maybe your conscience, something it's not allowing you to come back. But that's one thing. Remember the prodigal son. And that's one thing brothers as congregants got to remember too. There's people that are fighting probably heavier demons than you, heavier spirits than you. So don't be quick to point fingers and judge people because you see them gone for a couple months, maybe perhaps a couple years. Then they come back, and instead of embracing people, you are here trying to judge them. Instead of being, man, remember the prodigal son. How did the father treat that son that came back? He embraced them. So if we connecting with these scriptures and we really are about these scriptures, then when you see your brothers, your sisters, embrace them. Help them. Don't be like, damn, they're here. Here we go again with that brother. That sister hella unstable. Oh, let's see what this Jake does now, this time around. We already like, low-key, wishing a downfall for the brothers or the sisters. We wishing negativity upon them. That sounds like Cain, some type of Cain spirit to me. So let's sure we meditate on that because it says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Go ahead.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure.
Constantly endure. So not just the Day of Atonement, right? Temptation, it says the desire to do something, especially something wrong or unwise. Like 1 John 3:4. The transgression, right? Sin is the transgression of the law. We have a Day of Atonement. We're not supposed to be sinning. But like I was talking to certain brothers that have an issue with the devil, it's like, look, you never know. You might have a thought that comes up. Don't they come up? Sometimes you, like, even, let's say it's your husband, your own wife, your own son, like, man, let me check myself, Abba. Sometimes we don't check ourselves and we act on it. And that's why it's necessary that we have a congregation, that we out with certain individuals that's going to be able to check us. I've been there. Brothers, hey, chill. You're out of line right now. All right, good. You know what? All praises to the Most High that I have brothers or sisters, whatever it might be, to correct me and not allow me to continue in that course of destruction. That's why it's necessary to have the congregants. Be able to come around and have brothers and sisters that are in fear of the Most High and his judgments, right? So it says constantly endure, right? Go ahead.
And make not haste in time of trouble.
So you see that? So it says make not haste in time of trouble. Because that's sometimes when we try to give up. When things are good, we all straight, right? No issues. We low-key even forget about the Most High, like, we out here. And then we start going into that Broadway. Then when things happen, some of us, that's the only time when we reach out to the Most High. It's like, nah, man, have a balance, constantly endure. It says, read the last part, Doc.
Make not haste in time of trouble.
And in time of trouble, remember, Most High, he tested Yahweh Shai. You don't think he was troubled right before he got crucified? You can read about it. He tells you how troubled he was. But he knew that he could trust in the Most High. And that Yahweh had him. And how locked in he was. He's like, man, forgive them for they not know, they don't know what they're doing, Abba. That's deep. We out here quick to flip on an individual that does some minute type thing to us, right? Something real small. And then the worst thing is that we don't even communicate to make things right. We just put boundaries like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this brother. I'm not dealing with that sister. She should know better. If I know better, how come she don't know better? She might not know better. Everybody's level is different. Everybody's level is different. Imagine Yahweh Shah was teaching at 12 years old, dealing with Sadducees and Pharisees, and they were stunned. They didn't even recognize or understand how he had so much knowledge. But that's how committed Yahweh Shai was. But go ahead, continue on.
Cleave unto him, and and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
And that's the thing we got to remember. At the last end, says we will be increased if we endure until the end. Go ahead.
Whatsoever is brought up on thee, take cheerfully.
Check that out. Because that's another thing we don't do. You start whining, complaining, looking at people a certain way. It says, whatever comes upon thee, make sure it comes from Yahweh. Make sure that you remember that it's coming from Yahweh, right? And take cheerfully. Go ahead.
And be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
That's what we read about the definition, right? Enduring. Something painful or difficult that you suffer through patiently. Continue on.
For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Do we not want to be acceptable individuals? That's what we're here for, right? So he's saying the gold is tried in the fire and what?
And acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Exactly. We had it easy before, the slip up with in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. You could read about that in Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 2. It tells you we were supposed to have it smooth. But it says since we slipped up, both Eve and Adam, ever since then, the women will suffer that pain, right? And men were not going to be at peace. Whatever bread they brought home, it was going to be tough. Imagine how many hours brothers be working. And we got to put in this work. Honestly, when you think about a Sabbath, I don't think we really had a Sabbath. I could say today was a good Sabbath for me. But when we up here 8, 9 a.m., we out in the sun, we come back, putting lessons together, dealing with councils, dealing with brothers out of town. It's a job. It's an occupation. How often do you rest, Doc? How often do you rest?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, right? But guess, hey, the Most High said, take it cheerfully, though. Because if you endure until the end, your blessing is going to be beautiful. It says you're being tried like gold at this present moment right now. Again, because your forefathers slipped up. Again, because you're serving a sentence for their transgressions and your transgressions. Right? Go ahead. 6.
Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him.
So you see, he keeps telling you the same thing over and over, basically. It says, have faith in him. Make sure you set yourself right and trust in him. Go ahead.
Ye that believe in the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall.
Go ahead.
Ye that fear the Lord, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail.
Now go ahead.
Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old, and see, did ever any trust in the Lord, and was confounded?
See, that's what we forget. And we read it, and I guess we don't believe it, maybe. But anybody that you could read about in the past, was anybody forsaken of the Most High? Not one. It's a beautiful chapter. I think it's Maccabees Chapter 2 or 3, First Maccabees, when Mattathias is about to, give up the ghost, and he does a whole roll call of all the individuals. He calls everybody out, and he shows his sons like, look, be ready, man. Nobody was ever forsaken that actually had faith in the Most High. That's what Sirach is saying. We're going to read the whole chapter because this is mainly like the meat of the whole lesson. Everything else, however many precepts I'm able to get to, I'm going to get to. But focus on this chapter right here. And make sure you guys go back. Because remember how I started, it says, if you're gonna come to serve the Most High, be ready for temptation. Let's not forget that. We will be tempted 24/7. Right? So go ahead.
Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him?
Nobody. Continue on.
For the Lord is full of
Compassion.
For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy.
Imagine that. All praises to the Most High. Because imagine, if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't be here. We would not be here. These Bibles would not be here. Amen. All praises. The brother brought it up last night. He said, look, we've probably been good for the last 5 years, 2 years, 6 months, however long we've been in this walk. But most of our dirt, we did it when? When we were in ignorance, right? Back in the world. Man, you could write books about all the nonsense we did. Right? Files. But he said, read that again, huh?
Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction.
Exactly. So that's another thing that we got to focus on when we send up our Father prayer. We do it constantly. We do it 6 times every time we have class, right? So it says, forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors. But we don't do that. We hold grudges. But the Most High just said, look, read that again, huh? The last verse. Yeah.
And saveth in time of affliction.
You see that? But read the whole thing.
Okay. For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful.
So it says long-suffering and very pitiful. Go ahead.
And forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction.
Exactly. So we really, we got to key in. We got to focus on these things. And trust me, that'll make you a better female, better male in this walk. You'll be happy. You'll be smiling. You'll be like, you know what? I'm at one with the Most High. I'm in one accord. And that's really what we got to focus on. But continue on.
Woe be to the fearful heart.
This is the other side. And this is what I'll be talking about when it's, in regards to fear. Most High did not give us that spirit of fear, right? So it says, woe, again, to what?
Be to the fearful hearts and faint hands.
And faint hands. So certain people sometimes, we move away from brethren, from congregants. Sometimes a brother or sister might not have friends as you catch them in the store. What do? Do they come and greet you? A lot of times, try to go through an aisle, right, and hide from you. Is that conviction? They might say, you know what, I don't believe in the law no more. I don't believe in this. I have an issue with this, an issue with that. But your mind and your spirit is still being convicted. Because your soul knows better, And knowing that, when we see certain people, let's not be quick to judge. Help them out. Help them out. You don't know what situation they went through, what type of conflict they had that made them, go away. So instead of, of course, we got to correct them. But even with that, learn how to correct people. Situations what we're teaching out there. It's more, I was just talking to a brother that Yaquatazal was talking for a couple of months, I guess, in Puerto Rico. The one thing he said why he gravitated towards this congregation was the way we operate and we conduct ourselves and how we talk to people. Think about that. Meditate on that. If you're always cutting people, you think they're going to want to come and deal with you? You're always pointing the finger at them? I know I wouldn't want to deal with anybody like that. But instead, you come through and do it according to how Yahweh Shai was an expert. And Paul says it too. He says, I became weak to those that were weak, in the heart. Be all things unto all men. So that's the knowledge that we're supposed to be gaining with the the wisdom that's in this word right here. I could, deal with a Muslim brother. I could deal with a brother, that's atheist. I could deal with whatever level a brother or sister's at. You got to make sure that you're constantly in the scriptures to be able to deal with them brothers and sisters at that level. It's called discernment. Even when somebody out there, a lot of times people want to come get a flyer, want to deal with Jakes. I'm like, look, he a little inebriated. I'll just keep pushing. Don't focus in on him too much right now, because is he going to really comprehend what you're talking about? Or her, right? So you can move him to the side, have a brother on the side deal with him, but you don't want to, focus on that brother when you got other people to deal with. So it's like everything. You got a child that might be more of a rebel than the other. You're going to treat them different. You're going to deal with them differently. My son right here, he could tell you, how did I correct you at the end? How did I correct you? He had to fast. Immediately, when he wasn't listening, like right now, as of right now, bro, for 24 hours, you're not eating, you're not drinking anything. That's the only thing that could, like, really touch him. I'll whoop him, he'd be like, okay, back to doing the same nonsense. Everybody different, right? So you got to make sure you really analyze everybody. Know the state of thy flock. Not everybody's the same, man. Right? But continue on.
Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended.
Imagine that. We are here doubting and everything. The Most High says, I'm not going to defend you. I didn't give you the spirit of weakness. I didn't give you the spirit of fear. Yasharallah is your name. So when you're in that fearful situation, he's looking at you like, nah, I'm not defending you, man. I'm not defending no cowards. And that's one thing we always got to stress to our brothers, to our little ones. Like, man, do you know your lineage? Tazion always talks about it. He puts it and includes it in everything. Yasharallah, the lions, right? What's the name of the classes on Saturday? Which means what? The little ones, right? The little lions, the little kings, the little princesses, right? Let's not forget that. The way you girls, look at how you women are dressed. And look at the world. And I know sometimes you might go through it like, oh man, but look at whatever her name is, because all of them are pretty much the same. It's funny though, because they really have no spirit. Imagine, what do they call it? The TikTok nonsense. What do they call them? Yeah, not contests, but not the skits. What people be doing on TikTok. Challenges, a challenge. What's a challenge? This walk is challenging, right? Going in front of a camera and undressing as a female, how is that challenging? Right? All these, like, no matter what you see, what type of challenge? The dumb nonsense that was happening a couple of weeks ago, people were busting their head open on the crates. How is that a challenge? But look at it, in Lamentations chapter 2, it talks about the nations go by and look at us. Look at these fools. These are the people that are supposed to be the kings and queens of the Most High, of the world, and they laugh at us. Read Lamentations chapter 2 when you get a chance. But we give them that opportunity. They walk by out here, when they see us, they like, oh man, let me not mess with these individuals. Pretty sure they look at sisters, they're not going to come at you. I look at a sister, not even the truth, with a dress. I already start thinking different about her. Like, man, I wonder what she about. I wonder if she knows these laws. You see another one's like, man, I feel sad. She's just walking around as like, a piece of meat. A piece of cheap meat at that. Not kosher. A piece of swine, really. Right? But it's our women. And it's sad. And then you got our mothers doing the same thing and showing that to their daughters. There's a precept for that too. It's cold, man. These scriptures are cold. So let's make sure, Akim, that we help each other out. But he says, look, when these individuals are in fear, in that fearful state, imagine right now, we had a little quake, right? We say all praises to the Most High. People on the side like, y'all crazy? That's probably just the beginning of the big one, Who cares? All praises, because guess what? Then that's how you're going to get in line. Because Israel does not get in line until you feel a whooping, until you get checked. But we don't have that fear because we are supposed to be lined up with the Most High, right? So we happy when those things happen. But go ahead.
Woe unto you that have lost patience. And what will you do when the Lord shall visit you?
Think about that. That's why it's so necessary. We could have had 10 years of being the best Israelites, most charitable, right? Knowledgeable in the scripts, giving counsel, helping the needy. But then you live another 2 years, and in those 2 years you completely switched up, lost patience. The Most High says, well, guess what? You didn't endure until the end. So I don't know you. Think about that. Is that worth it? Imagine everything we gave up. Kids that have been here since they were little, right? Never dealt with the world. For them to go and deal with the world at the end, right before that, finish line is right in front of them, but they give up right before crossing it. That's sad. That's why Yahweh was so key with it too. He's like, look, either you're going to serve me or bounce. Ain't no in between with this walk. Says either you're going to be hot or cold. Right? But go ahead.
They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word.
Uh-huh.
And they that love him will keep his ways.
Go ahead.
They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well-pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law.
Exactly. So it says, we shall be filled with the law if we love him. So how important is it for us to be in the scriptures and constantly be reading? Now it's even easier. If you ain't got the time to read, for example, I drive for a living, right? I'm always on the road. You could just hit, YouTube has the word. You go to sleep, put Wisdom of Solomon. Our brother's probably going to be narrating a couple of them in a minute. I know we talked about that a long time ago because a lot of the stuff we didn't have, But you have actual Israelites, audible, right, videos that you could just click on and get a whole chapter in within minutes. Like Isaiah, I think it's like 3 hours. You got an 8-hour shift. You can go through Isaiah a couple times and really understand it. And then go back in your precepts, all right, and in your Bible, and your actual Bible, and, precept, whatever you have. Or at least you'll be able to understand it a little better, or much better, hopefully. So there's no excuse. Remember, Revelations 1 and 3 says, blessed is he that readeth, right? And knows, because the time is short, because a lot of people be like, well, the end of the world, the end of the world. But when you come to an end, when you die, that's the end of your world. What does it matter if the world still continues? It says in the scriptures, we're like a piece of grass. Gets cut, fades away. Our time is only for a moment here. Let's shine. That little moment that we have, let's make sure we do our best. But go ahead, finish that up, Bach.
They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight. Saying, we will fall into thy hands, O Lord, and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy.
Exactly. Basically, 10 toes down is what it's saying right here. Like, look, we're ready to fall for you and into your hands than the hands of these enemies of the devil. Because he ain't got no recompense for us, right? What we going to get from him is nothing. He going to take our soul. And then Revelation talks about eternal damnation. And hopefully I get to that precept in Esdras, but let's continue. Let's go to 2 Timothy. How you guys feeling? You guys good? All right, cool. Gotcha. They're all good. Okay, go ahead and get that. 2 Timothy 1 and 7. And I'm going to just probably read out the scriptures so you guys could jot them down because it's a good amount of scriptures. And, it's already 9:30, I think, 9:22.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. For the Most High hath not given us the spirit of fear,
Go ahead.
but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
Think about that, right? Over and over. In those moments of weakness, just recall our name, man. Yasharallah. A lot of you guys probably have it in your Hebrew names. A lot of you guys have names that you don't have not really meditated on. Right? Serve that purpose of the name that you was given. Because remember, it wasn't something that brothers just threw in a cup or in a hat and pulled it out.
Right.
It took time. Bet you some of us were even, losing patience. Like, hey, when am I going to get my name? A lot of us even have a name already from birth that means something. You talk to your parents, they might tell you a story. Look, I named you this because of this and this, right? And then a lot of things that we, sometimes when we get our names, we're able to, it's crazy. When I got my name, it's like, brothers didn't really know me that well, but it was fitting, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have experienced the same thing. Why? Because nothing is by coincidence, man. Everything was already laid out, and it's on us if we're going to choose to roll with the Most High or choose with the, roll with the opposition. But read that again one more time.
2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For the Most High hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
A sound mind. So when you meditate on all those things, that's somebody that's wholesome, or at least trying to be wholesome, right? If you have that, you have a good balance. If you have a good balance, then you're an asset to the nation. If you don't, then you know where to go. It's right here. And you know the things to do. Meditation, right? Fasting. Being charitable. All those things, the Most High says, I wipe out a whole bunch of sins when you guys apply these things. And it's already in our spirit when you look at it. Except that sometimes we, do things for people that are not deserving. Instead of doing it for the nation, we do it for the so-called white men. We do it at work. We do it for individuals that don't give a damn about you. A lot of our young women, they might put a lot of focus on brothers that don't give they don't have no focus or concern in these laws, but just because they have a certain status, and men do it too. We want to gravitate that route, right? Towards that route. It's like, nah, seek those individuals. It says always. It says, wear out the footstep of those individuals that are wise in the nation. You know who they are. And at the end of the day, we all try to be that individual. That virtuous female in Proverbs 31. I hope you sisters don't have an issue with Proverbs 31. Do you? Good. Because in the past, a lot of women have. A lot of women have, and it's like, I don't get it. Proverbs 31, imagine the sister's up early. She's building. It's like what you see, for example. I'm going to use Cardi, for example, right? She just signed, what was it? She got another business going. It was, I don't know what it was, but she got Reebok, Pepsi, all these things, right? Makeup or something, whatever it is, right? So you look, a lot of our women look at it, hey, that's a successful female. Beyonce, whatever, right? J-Lo. Proverbs 31 talks about that. In righteousness, though. It says they were going to be having real estate. They were going to be able to make moves. They were going to have the finest linens. They were going to have the best food. Think about that. When you really focus and key in on those things, like, that's a super female right there. Man. Really go back, though. Read Proverbs 31. And see, okay, check out the things that you already, you accomplishing. Or already got in, in the works. Whatever you don't look at it like, damn, why am I not that female? Why am I not that sister? Why? Because you don't want to. What's holding you back? Exactly, sis? Yourself. We hold ourselves back. That goes for us men too. Because that's one thing, a lesson that I wanted to bring out last week, Saturday class. We did it in Spanish, but it's how to be a better man. We come from backgrounds where we don't have guides. I didn't have a Karatazai in my life. I didn't have any of these brothers in my early life. So the way you grow up is just pretty much like a wild plant or whatever it might be, right? Like that rose from the concrete. By the pure mercy of the Most High. But all praises to the Most High. Now we got what? We got the body. We got the brothers. We got the brotherhood. We have the sisterhood. Let's make sure that we apply ourselves and then we use these individuals. The young ones, you guys have leaders. You young brothers, man, I look at y'all. Read the Maccabees on your own when you get a chance. Read about Metathais. Man, I could paint movies in my mind about these youngsters, man. You don't know what they're going to be doing. Young sisters, these little daughters sitting on their mother's laps right now. Like the brothers always bring out, you don't ever know, like you don't know what prophet this Jake might be. You don't know what sister you guys are, right? So make sure you really, really focus and meditate and search that out, bring it out. We spent too much time in, low-key like covering the oppressor's nonsense. Watching, nonsense, really. Wasting our time instead of building ourselves. But that was it. You finished Timothy, right? Nah, just 7. Oh, actually, yeah, we could read 8. This jig has it. Go ahead.
And be not thou therefore ashamed of the testimony of our Lord, nor of me, his prisoner, but be thou partakers of the affliction of the gospel, according to the power of the Most High.
All praises, exactly. The affliction. If we're not partakers of the affliction, then how we going? Brothers be in the gym, right? Brothers be in pain, right? You only see the gains when you go through the pain. That's in everything. Sometimes even in diet, you be like, man, it's easy for you to get a hamburger, a cheeseburger, some nuggets, but it's difficult for what? To go to the garden, wash the kale, clean the kale out, prep the kale, cook the kale, then eat the kale, right? But at the end of the day, you see the gains. So these afflictions, we must go through them to be able to see that kingdom that we're, en route to, most high willing. So now from there, let's go to 1 Peter. Let's go to 1 Peter 3 and 14. And I'll probably just touch on a couple more. How you guys feeling? You guys good? You guys already cheated. You drank. You had a little snack. All right, all praises. So 1 Peter 3 and 14.
The book of 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 14. But, and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what we got to remember. What are we suffering for? Because a lot of times we suffer, right? We pretty much suffer our whole lives. Do we not? What do we suffer for, though? Negative energy? I mean, us right here is probably different, but I'm saying when you out in the world, even sometimes here, you like, oh, my uncle's not in this truth, my mom, and you stress that. Oh, man, these vaccinations, everything that's going on right now. We stay stressing over these things that are not in our control. Send them up, give them to the Most High. He'll deal with it. Right? He talks about the fowls and all that as far as they eat, and they don't be tripping. They don't be checking their bank accounts. Right? They just roam around, pick on some grub, keep going, have a peaceful life. They singing in the morning, chilling at night, they get their good sleep. Most High talks about that in regards to us. He says, my Akim, my sons and my daughters, if they're on point at night, you ain't going to be worried. Stay alert, but you're going to be able to sleep pretty good. Right? It says that in Proverbs. Talks about that in the book of Psalms. So he said, read that again, Salakia.
1 Peter 1 and 14. But, and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled.
Exactly. So if we're suffering in righteousness, we should be happy, no matter what happens in our lives. You got fired. Oh, well, I had to take all these days off for the 7th month. But you know what's funny, though? If you're locked in and you're putting in work, do they fire you, Malakaya, or what do they do? Did they grant you your days? Imagine how the Most High is testing us. The message came in, if I'm not mistaken, I think on a Sunday, right? Brother said, hey, you know what? The new moon might be a day prior. Looking at it. And you know, it's funny that week, that month, I had observed the new moon, the full moon disappear real quick. I thought about it, but didn't really go into it. Then a brother, I remember I got the message from my czar, and the other brothers were talking about it. And then we had to shoot that out to the congregation. LA, we got congregations all throughout the world, right? Made it happen. How fun and how festive was that feast day? I think it was one of the best ones, if you ask me. There was bottles, there was food. People were happy, people were dancing. Man, brothers was here late. Yeah, we adjusted, came back the next day, continued on. But think about it. And then we had to take another Sabbath off, which was today. That wasn't supposed to be, because it was supposed to be tonight. But hey, everybody pulled through. Brothers out here, oh man, what am I going to do? Man, I got to tell my boss. I already told him. He was already stressing. Bugging out because I had to tell him about these days. Now I got to tell him and switch everything up. He's going to look at me like I'm lying or whatever. Apply that faith, man. We conquerors, more than conquerors. Everything's going to be all right. We're going to be ruling this in a minute if we believe it. Brother said, all right, go ahead, take your days. Even got more blessings than you had before. But that's when you apply it. When you apply this faith, the Most High does not let you down. Let's go from there to Matthew 5 and 10. And I'm going to just read the precepts from this point on, just, to touch on a couple. That way we could close it out. But, they speak for themselves. Book of Matthew 5 and verse 10.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
You see that? So he already said it. Every scripture we're going into is pretty much telling us the same thing, right? It says, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Everybody else that's having it so-called easy out here, they ain't going to see nothing at the end. It's going to be done. Game over. They're going to be in that lake of fire. They're going to be in eternal damnation. So where you want to be at? Where do we want to be? I see brothers that have suffered through years and still here. Brothers that sometimes go through things and you just see smiles. Sisters, smiles. Why not, right? Because guess what? What else do we have out there? Brother touched on Romans last night. What are we going to gain from this walk and from enduring until the end? You can't even measure it. Glory, everlasting life, an eternal Sabbath. Think about that. We can't sometimes. Like I said, a lot of us as brothers, man, I can't recall the last time we had a full Sabbath. Not that we're complaining, but I'm just saying. Now imagine an eternal Sabbath. Means you ain't got to wake up and, am I late to work? Oh my God, the alarm didn't go off. I got to call him up, see what excuse I'm going to give him. Hopefully he don't fire me. I'm already behind on bills. All that stress is not going to exist if we endure until the end. I know you feel me, because it's stressful. When you out here, even just doing I had a job where I had to go in on Sunday, work with this brother. This brother was stressing out. Remember 2 tabernacles ago? Brother got let go after tabernacles. It sucked, man. He was hyped, because it's like, man, I haven't taken a vacation with my family. Everybody went. His whole family went. Comes back. It's shut. It's done. Hey, so be it. Smile. Keep pushing. Brother's always smiling, right? But, we in there, and it's like, man, and it's Amalekites, the worst of these heathens, calling shots. But it's like, you know what? Why am I going to endure until the end? Because I want that blood right there. I want their blood. I want all these heathens at the end of the day. Me personally, I don't feel like Esau should be doing anything for our babies. My bad. That's just me. They're going to be doing some cleaning in the background or something. Me personally. I deal with the other nations, but them taking care of our babies, I know it's going to be different. I'm just saying, giving my, point of view or whatnot. But the way they've treated us, man, I don't want them around. And all praises to the Most High. They're only going to be there to pay their debt, and then they're going to be gone. Thus said Obadiah, right? So all praises to the Most High. Let's go from there. You guys could take Isaiah 48 and 10 down. It talks about the furnace of affliction. Psalms 34, 19 through 22. Let's get that right quick. Psalms 34, 17 through 22. It's going to be 2 more precepts and then we'll call it, but I'll give you guys some more. Psalms? Oh, Isaiah 48 and 10. No problem.
Psalms 34 and 17.
Yeah.
For the righteous cry, and the Lord heareth.
You see that? We were crying today, right? Because that's what the Day of Atonement is for. We're asking for forgiveness. We're asking for mercy. So read that again, Ak.
The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles.
All their troubles. Not a few, but everything. So whenever we caught up in that situation, like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I mean, you went through a Day of Atonement. We had a lesson. This is not the first lesson that covers these type of things. Got lessons for years, right? When you're going through that, remember these things. Read that last part again.
And deliver them out of all their troubles.
Out of all our troubles. Continue on.
The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart.
So he says he's close to those individuals that are of a broken heart. Going back again to the Psalms 51 the brother brought out last night. He was close to David. He even told David, look, if you wanted some more ribs, you should have just asked. You're my beloved. Really? But David got caught up. He failed in that test, right, in that temptation. He got caught up, which is what we're not supposed to let happen. But go ahead.
And saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. Many are the affliction of the righteous.
A few.
Many are the affliction of the righteous.
You heard that, right? Many are going to be our afflictions. Many have been our afflictions. So what? Earlier we read, take them cheerfully. Take them cheerfully. Right? You got to take them cheerfully. In all gladness. Go ahead.
But the Most High delivereth him out of them all. He keepeth all his bones, not one of them is broken.
Imagine that. So when you connect with Pesach, Passover, you'll understand why that lamb, there's no broken bones in it. Because the Most High kept it. Most High kept Yahweh Shai pure until the end. And now he sits on his right hand. So that's what he's telling us. Like, look, I'll have you whole. Not one bone's going to be broken if you believe in me. Go ahead, Ak.
Evil shall slay the wicked, and they that hate the righteous shall be desolate.
Go ahead.
The Lord redeemeth the souls of his servants, and none of them that trust in him shall be desolate.
So see that? None of those individuals, none of us, if we really trust in the Most High, are we going to be desolate. Meaning we're not going to be alone. Although it feels like that sometimes, right? It might feel like that. But that's just your mind playing tricks on you. Because if you're still here and you're still keeping these laws, you're not alone. I mean, look around. We got all of us right here. Not all of us is here. We got how many brothers out in Africa? We got brothers in the Philippines. You look at them brothers. Whenever you feel down, look at these brothers outside of the U.S. Brother in the background said right now, yeah, we some Israelites. We some American Israelites. Man, third world country Israelites, they're a little stronger than us. Let's feed off that energy. You know, we've been conditioned out here in the Americas, in America, in the U.S. So let's make sure we look out and look at these brothers with just a little bit, everything that they're doing. I've seen brothers welding and putting pieces together, you know, out there with flip-flops, mobbing. How's that temperature out there in Africa?
It was 91 every day.
And then you had multiple cars to put in your equipment and mob?
Yeah, multiple cars. Everywhere we went, we got to go on a trotro. It was hot out there.
But do they? I'm saying, is it as easy as we have it here, where we
No,
could just
it's
load
not.
up a couple
It's
vehicles?
not.
Hey, how many brothers are willing to drive? Let's go. A lot of these brothers don't have vehicles.
So
You
none
know?
of them have vehicles.
There you
right?
go. None of them have vehicles.
Everywhere they go, they on the trotro too.
So we have it real easy, Akim, when you really think about it. The projects here is like lavish mansions out in these third world countries. Favelas, they live in shacks. If brothers have, that's why the scripture says a lot of wisdom comes to the individuals that travel out to the four corners of the earth. You're able to see Israel, really how they're going through it. Then when you come back, I remember the first time I went out with Brother Tazara to Peru, man, it was sad. But it was good at the same time. It was so peaceful because it's like, look, we really in the trenches connecting with our people, and we don't have the distractions that we have as soon as we come out here. I remember as soon as we hit that left on over the 110 and we saw downtown, remember that? We're like, man, everything, it was just like a burden that just dropped on us again. Although we was out there jumping on buses, we almost fell off the Andes a couple times. We had to jump on a Cessna to travel back to Peru. But that's lovely, though, because you're like, you know what? This is what Paul was doing. This is what Yahweh Shai was doing. He says, shipwrecks, man, I've been through plenty. Beatdowns, I've been through plenty of them. Incarceration, man, I was locked up several times. We haven't gone through none of that. Most of us, right? So think about that. And if we giving up right now, man, what are we going to do then? So the whole point of this lesson was, right, to be able to make sure that we're ready to endure and endure till the end, because that's the only way that we're going to make it. Perhaps we're going to have this lesson maybe like on a regular day just to put it up, because there's a lot of meat. But I'm going to just finish it up with, it's complicated. Let me see. Yeah, well, we'll touch on it again. Let me get Second Esdras. Second Esdras 8, 1 and 3. And then you get Second Esdras 9 and 22. The water. Second Esdras 8 and 1.
The book of Second Esdras, chapter 8 and verse 1. And he answered me, saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for few.
Right? So the importance of enduring until the end. Because the world that's to come, it's only for a few. Go ahead.
Verse 2 or 3?
Yes, 2 to 3.
Verse 2, I will tell thee a similitude, Esdras, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee, that it giveth much mold whereof earthen vessels are made. But little dust that gold cometh of.
Right? We got brothers in Ghana that are in that situation. That's their what do you call it? Their profession, occupation, right? They be out there for days digging through earth, through the dirt, from which you could create all kinds of structures, right? But he says, from all this, only but a few, but a little dust, right? Just a little couple of nuggets here and there are you going to find the golden. So what do you guys get from that? We read about that, right? We are that gold. Right. We're going through that trial of affliction. So he's saying there's a whole lot of individuals on this earth, but only a few going to make it to the next world. So he said right here, read that again, verse 2.
I will tell thee a similitude, Esdras, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee, that it giveth much mold whereof earthen vessels are made. But little dust that gold cometh of.
Continue.
Even so is the course of this present world.
Go ahead.
There be many created, but few shall be saved.
Exactly. And all praises, we're doing our best to try to be those individuals, those pieces of gold, right? So let's continue on, Israel. Let me get 9 and 22, what? Second Esdras 9 and 22.
Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 22. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain.
Man, imagine that. That's cold. That hurts. You can read the whole chapter. We ain't got much time, but read that again,
Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain.
That's cold. Imagine your father, your mother telling you were a mistake. It might have happened to a couple of us because Israel be cold. Hey, pay attention, Akim. You youngsters, focus. So think about that. You were a mistake. That hurts, right? The Most High just said it right here, though. Imagine that. It says, let the multitude perish then. All those individuals that don't want to be down with the Most High, he said, let them perish then, which was born in vain. Again, don't take this for granted, family. Continue on, Ak.
And and let my grape be kept, and my plant.
So it says, let my grape and my plant be kept. Go ahead.
For with great labor have I made it perfect.
Imagine that. It took him a great labor for him to create us and then to sanctify us, to choose us, and for us to be here. How many people we have in LA? And how many we have in this congregation this evening? Everybody, it's Friday, right? Everybody out there wilding out. Focus on destruction and vanity. So it says, well, let them perish then. If that's what they choose, so be it. Last scripture, get Revelations 2:26. It's going to be two last ones. Revelations 2:26 and Joshua 1:6. Con. The what? Go ahead. Revelations.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations.
Is that not what we want? Right? That's what we're here for. If you're not here for that reason, man, examine yourself. If you think it's going to be all balanced and so-called created equal, nah, that was never the case. Deuteronomy tells you that. Never the case. Right? Psalms 147 tells you that. So he says, those individuals that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Now the last one, Joshua 1:6.
Joshua chapter 1, verse 6. Be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them.
Because remember, he said that to our forefathers when we came out of Egypt. Because remember, after the Garden of Eden, he said, all right, cool. Y'all messed up and slipped up right there. I wiped everybody away. I left 8 people. Out of those 8 people, I still chose Abram, Isaac, Jacob, 12 tribes. Now I'm going to give you a second chance. I'm going to give you the land of Israel that flow with milk and honey. And we were supposed to be set. Israel waxed fat, kicked, slipped up, got kicked out again. This is before we got to Israel. So what we read in Revelations that's to come, this is what Joshua was to tell the people. This is when Yahweh was talking to him after Moses died. He was left in charge. And he was told to let the people know to be strong and of good courage. For unto this people, it says, shall thou, so the Most High is talking to him, Joshua, you will divide for an inheritance the land. Go ahead.
Which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous,
right,
that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest.
You see that? He told them that. We read that in Revelations. We read that this whole night, this entire night. So he told them right here, look, I never, every promise I promised your forefathers I've kept. He said right here, all you got to do is make sure that you don't waver. Make sure you stay on that straight and narrow, right? And I will bless you. And you will prosper no matter where you're at. Because that's another thing we sometimes get caught up in, like, oh, I'm supposed to be at the lowest. No, you are more than conquerors. Let's act on it. Let's be those individuals. But with that, family, I say shalom and all praises to the Most High.